G'day humans, Chris Stead from Fine here. I'm on the road and today I'm at the Discovery Parks in Jindabyne. Now the reason this popped up on my radar is because I was bringing the family down to Thredbo for the week, and I was looking for somewhere to stay, and the accommodation in Thredbo in itself and in Jindabyne was just off the chain, ridiculously expensive, $7 grand, $8 grand for a week, this type of thing. Then I noticed that there was actually a Discovery Parks here, and I had never really thought of staying in a cabin or a caravan park for a winter snow trip. So I thought, let's give this a go and find out whether this is a good option for families looking to travel to the snow and to try and make it as affordable as possible while still having that warmth and that comfort that you require when you're in the dead of winter in the snowy mountains of New South Wales, Australia. So let's start with a quick tour of the actual Discovery Parks in Jindabyne, and then I'll give you a review of the room that we're staying in, which is the deluxe cabin with the 5 beds. So I thought I'd start the tour out the front here of the Discovery Parks Jindabyne. So the road you can see kind of disappearing up on the distance there is the road to Thredbo and the ski tube. So you're about 25 minutes drive from Thredbo. And that road down there heads to Perisher in Charles Pass. Now you're probably about 5-minute drive back to Jindabyne from here. So you're not in the centre of Jindabyne, it's definitely not something you'd walk back from a pub, for example. But it's actually kind of cool being on this side of Jindabyne. You don't have to go through all the traffic every single morning. You can just zip straight up to Thredbo, which is what we were doing. Now at the front here, there's a whole row of shops. That's why I wanted to show you. So you have the fishing store down there, mechanic, the service station with typical service station stuff, firewood and bait and ice and so forth. We've got a cafe here, which we just could grab a coffee in the morning. It's a small walk up. This also does apparently the best burger in the world. However, it closes at 3 o'clock disappointingly, so we haven't been back in time to have a burger. And this Thai restaurant here, which we actually had last night, and it was mediocre, but not too bad. And a snow hire gear place as well. So that's all kind of on your front doorstep. As you can see, you got the main road here as well, so that's probably worth pointing out. The main road actually loops in a U-bend here, all the way around the Discovery Park. So you pretty much got main road on 3 sides. What that actually meant in practice wasn't too bad. There's kind of a bit during the day, a bit of a constant white noise, but as someone who really notices traffic noise, I actually was surprised by how little I noticed it. And at night it really quietens down anyway, and I could count on one hand how many times I might have heard a truck or something come past during the night. Like, it's really quite quiet. So that was a concern of mine when I got here, but it turned out to be not an issue at all. Okay, so going to the Discovery Parks here, a little chessboard out the front here, which has actually been used quite a lot for the kids. The blow-up pillow, bike station air pump as well. There is a footpath, kind of like a jogging / dog walking / bike path that goes from here down to the main Jindabyne village. So bikes would be a good call, actually. Now I'm going to say before we get too far into here that I'm filming this in July 2022, and the New South Wales and pretty much the whole East Coast has been devastated by rain events, which include Lake Jindabyne flooding, and so there's a lot of damage from the floods. As you can see around the entire lake, you can probably see the discoloration there from where the water's come right up. So with that in mind, I want you to keep that in mind, because there is some damage. I don't think it's that bad, to be honest, but a little bit of, you can see here, they're still kind of trying to fix it all back up. So just, that's something to note. It hasn't affected our experience in any way, shape or form. I don't think it's affected any of the cabins. They all seem fine. It's just some of maybe that foreshore isn't as luxurious as it probably is usually. Now, I'm filming this at about 9 in the morning. We're having a bit of a quiet start to get up to the snowy mountains. So you won't see too many people around at this point. But it has been full during the evenings, but quiet. Obviously it's winter, it's pretty cold, and I can only imagine it must be absolutely beautiful here in summer. Absolutely beautiful. So as you can see here, the dirt, this is where it's all kind of been damaged. So it's just got to grow back, and that's unfortunately the state of many of the campsites on the east coast of Australia at the moment. Boat hire, there's a little jetty down there as well. I would have loved to throw out a fishing line, but didn't think that far ahead. I just wanted to take you down here because they've got all these obviously caravan sites down here, all these powered sites, but they've got these deluxe powered sites as well, which are pretty nice. So you get this little camping area, this little like a picnic area up the back with a picnic table and some grass and some fairy lights lit up, which would be pretty awesome if you actually managed to book all these out between a group of friends. So I haven't seen that before, deluxe powered camping caravan sites. And you can see some cabins. Now that road goes around the corner to some more spots that I'll show you from up above rather than walk around there. But predominantly, and I guess it makes sense given that this is a winter focused region, cabins are the big call here. So you can see here it's just a little bit of damage from the rain, but they'll get all that fixed up. Right. So there's quite a range of cabins. Obviously, I've got a separate review of the deluxe cabin. Here's the playground. There's my two little kids. Hey guys. So pretty bare bones playground, let's be honest, but they're having fun. A full-size tennis court up there, which is pretty cool. And here's kind of the central amenities block. So for those of you who are thinking about caravanning or camping or sleeping in your four-wheel drive or a tent, give you a quick look in here. Right, so snowboard ski repair room. Thankfully I haven't had to go in here. I'm not going to go into the bathrooms for obvious reasons, but really big sized men's bathroom in there. They're actually quite sizable, and a women's over there. Under 15 children's room as well, which is interesting. That's very interesting. Drying room here, you need a key to get in there, but this is obviously super handy if you're staying in a caravan or similar. I need to dry your gear out overnight. Now in here, there used to be 2 spas, and I was devastated to find out that they weren't in operation at the moment, but they're being renovated. But to be fair, they're also not on the map or advertised at the moment. I only know they exist because I found a video from 10 years ago where someone was like, check out the spas. All right. So in here, I've got a little fire pit room. Now I haven't actually seen this in action. Probably because maybe there's in a big group here. But if you were all camping together, you could come up here and start a fire and hang out and have a few drinks without having to worry about the cold. So that's super handy in my opinion. If you're going to come down here in winter. There's a tennis court. And then a really good sized camp kitchen as well with a nice big TV. Got a TV room in here. So I like the way they've set this up. I think they've done a really smart job in terms of realising that people are going to be here in the dead of winter, dealing with the cold and the elements. And they've got a really large space here. And there's a laundry in here as well. A really large space for a lot of people to be able to mingle and enjoy themselves rather than just kind of sitting in a cold, dark tent. Little games room as well for the kids. Pinball, cigarelli. All right, so very good job they've done there with the amenities block. And yeah, I don't know if they're going to actually ever get those spas back up and running. I'm assuming that they probably closed them down for COVID originally. But geez, I would have loved to have jumped in those at the end of the day after hitting the mountain all day. All right. I'll just take you for a quick walk up through the cabins. There's quite a range of cabins. They've all been kind of, it's a very convoluted design, I guess, with the streets and everything. It's like they all lap around on each other and bend and twist and S, but it works. The top of the range cabins have a fireplace in them. I haven't seen stacks of wood anywhere, so I guess you buy your own wood. But even in, as I'll show you in my cabin review, the air conditioning's been bang on anyway. Pretty well thought out. You can see here with the, oh, the car coming up behind us. These little barbecue areas. Unfortunate timing. We've got a couple of these around. Just a little outdoor barbecue and a set of chairs to, you know. This is also what I really like about this place. See the space of each of the parking spots. I mean, there's so many of these places, including Discovery Parks, where you need to have done an advanced driving course to get your car into the spots beside them. But here, ample space, which has been doubly important, given that every single day you've got to, if you go into the snow and back, you've got to unpack all your snow gear, and, you know, it's just good to have that space. So obviously there's a few of these cabins that stand out dramatically for being, that just goes back to reception down there, for their modern design. I can't show you what's in those, unfortunately, but it's either your thing or it isn't. I'm not sure I really like that kind of design, but at least you know they're new. Just going to walk you up to where our cabin is. So, handy tip, up behind these there's a set of steps that go up to that service station, so you don't have to walk the whole way around to get to the cafe in the morning, which actually is a huge help. It makes it kind of circular. So these are the Richie Deluxe cabins up the back here. You can see the brick stacks, which is part of the fire. The fireplace that these ones have. You can see that those ones have a fireplace as well, the black one. So you get a row of these. So these obviously don't have any sort of view or outlook. Like, you're literally looking into cabins. And not many of the cabins really have much of a view, which I guess is a bit of a missed opportunity, given that this is, Lake Jindabyne is a beautiful piece of the world. There's not really anywhere except for those powered sites and camping sites right on the water, where you can actually get a good view of the lake. This one's empty, so I'll give you a quick look at it. These are just the little, I don't know what they call them, but they call them cabin. But literally 4 bunks. You can see through that reflection. 4 bunks and 2 cupboards and a heater. Now that may look super basic, but I reckon that's absolutely awesome. That's just perfect if this would have been great when I was a kid. Just rock down here with my mates. You know, and you're just paying for someone to put your head down, right? Sit there, have a few drinks on the bed, pass out. So I'm really glad that they've got some cabin options like that. Now these are the deluxe cabins we were staying in. Now, one of the kind of, I guess, shocks or surprises is probably a less strong and useful word, is that the cabins are joined. So you can see that there's deluxe cabins at the front here. There's 2 cabins to a building, which is unusual. And, oh, geez, it's like, you know, with the people staying next to us, so this is 58, we're in 59. We haven't heard basically anything from them. Like, these cabins, like, every time you take a step it makes a bump, so you can hear every footstep and everything like that. But it wasn't really that distracting, it wasn't really a problem. I was more worried about them dealing with us. Just with the kids, you know. Just always jumping around on beds and banging around and stuff and yelling at each other. So those poor buggers. So yeah, if you got unlucky and you got next to, you unfortunately ended up staying next to us, or potentially, you know, a bunch of 20-somethings who are having a big snow weekend or whatever, yeah, I don't know how that would work out. But for us, we had just an old couple with their 2 adult daughters with them next to us, and they've been perfect neighbours. So here we are at the cabin that we stayed in, number 59. It's just a deluxe cabin with the 5 beds. There are 6 bed options as well, and it's obviously also ones with fireplaces. This does not have the fireplace, but it does have the aircon, which I'll talk you through in a sec. So there was my wife, me, and my 3 kids, 11, 9, and 6.5. Have been staying in here for the last 5 nights. So I'll give you a quick tour. So this, as I mentioned when I was doing a walk around the actual park, this is one of the few cabins that has any sort of outlook. And it's pretty nice. You know, it's not the perfect vantage on the lake that you could hope for, Lake Jindabyne, but it is water views. And I have been actually waking up in the morning and kind of looking out and just opening the curtains. It actually is quite nice not to be staring down on another cabin or something like that. So I've actually quite enjoyed just being able to look out at something. But realistically, for this type of experience, we've been at the snow almost all day. We've been getting back at night most nights. So, you know, you're not really looking at it too much anyway. So the cabin itself, now the reason why we looked at this cabin specifically over the others is because it has more floor space. And one of the big things I was concerned about, and you probably are too, is what are you going to do when you get home with 5 people's worth of wet snowboard gear, ski gear, and all the wet clothes and everything like that. I was really concerned about whether they're going to be able to dry it all. And you can't really tell now because we've prepped for the day, but you know, at night this is just coated with coats and pants and gloves and helmets and all the stuff that we needed to dry. The aircon here has just been pounding the whole entire time. It doesn't make any sort of noise, which is great. I've been in some of these cabins before and the aircon is just so loud you can't even sleep, but wouldn't even know the unit was on. And everything has been dried in the morning. So there isn't like a dedicated space to hang up stuff to dry, which is potentially an oversight. But at the same time, I don't really know where they could put it anyway. And there was ample space. I would have, maybe a few more of these would have been to go. I wish I'd brought one myself just so we had more hanging space. But as you can see, for a cabin, a lot of space, pretty comfortable couches, plenty of power points, and the power points also have USB ports on them as well, which is a nice touch. The TV doesn't Chromecast, which was frustrating, but it does have HDMI in and USB in, so you can just stick a bunch of movies and stuff on a USB, or potentially even bring an Xbox or whatever and just plug that into the TV. So that's an option. Kitchen-wise, spacious, reasonably well thought out. It's your classic cabin design, right? There's nothing special about it other than the fact that the microwave is really good. Good sized fridge that's been able to hold everything for us. It came with like your coffees, sugars and salts, some biscuits, some hot chocolates. There was also a couple of bottles of water and a bag of jelly beans when we got here too, which was a nice touch. But yeah, we've predominantly just been using the microwave. There's a stove and the fridge. Behind this wall, there is a hot water pump. And that's been kind of the only issue that I've found with this cabin in general, is that when you turn on the water, that starts up like a jet plane. I don't know if that's just this cabin, but you can really notice it, but at least it's only on when the water's on. It's not like an aircon, which is on the whole time, so you can get used to it. It's not too bad. I do appreciate also the good sized table, which we've been able to all sit around and have dinners and chats and play cards and things like that. So in terms of a living space in a cabin, this is one of the best living spaces I've come across, there's no doubt about it. Let's have a look into the sleeping spaces. So the 3 kids have been in here. It's cozy. There's no aircon in here, but generally you just don't need it. Like honestly, the whole entire cabin's just been so warm the entire time we've been here. Like you can just walk around in your underpants if you want to, it's that warm in here. And this is pretty cool design as well they've got here, just not the space, just the cubes. It's been really handy. Just putting the kids' clothes there and just breaking it up so it's easy to access. And there's some space under here that you probably can't see as well. So interesting design, and obviously there's the 6 bed option gets rid of this, I think, and just converts that into a second bunk. So that's how that works. Into the main bedroom. Bed is comfortable. Pillows were really good. Bed was really comfortable. There's an aircon in here as well. Honestly, we didn't even need to turn it on because the whole cabin was already so warm. It's obviously well insulated. It's not a firm bed, so if you're into the firm beds, that might be an issue for you. It's kind of soft and spongy, but it's comfortable. And again, USB ports on the side panels, which is also a nice touch. There is a wardrobe in here, but it's pretty tight. You know, it's pretty tight to get into and use. If you need to stuff stuff away, extra jackets, spare things that you've just got in case, you can just put them there and forget about them. And there's a second TV as well in the road. It's a Changhong, which I've never ever heard of before, but it does have USB in and HDMI in as well. The reason why I like the second TVs is because sometimes you just need space from your family, and it's just easy to sit a couple of kids in here and they can watch this, and you can just have some time with your partner in the other room without having to deal with the kids on top of you. Bathroom, good shower. Like heat-wise, obviously really good, but also pressure-wise really good. And also for us tour buggers, it's got the adjustable top so you can actually get underneath it. So obviously after a big day on the slopes, nothing beats a hot shower. Well, the beer does, but then a hot shower. These ones are good. And otherwise, pretty decent space. Interestingly, they've got the preset pump packs here, but they're all empty. So I don't know if it's a supplier issue. We're obviously having a lot of supply issues with COVID at the moment. They're obviously aware of it because they provided Discovery Parks alternatives. So it's not like it was just left empty by the cleaner. But yeah, so otherwise ample space in here for everything, except for these hooks. These are the worst hooks I've ever encountered. They barely hold a towel. You really need to hang stuff up when you're at the stove. So bizarre. But yes, in general, really happy with this cabin and the stay. Like I said, the noise issue that I was worried about with the main road right there, and also people directly through that wall hasn't manifested. It's been fine. We've slept fine. And my number one concern, which was, you know, staying in a cabin at a Discovery Parks, which is not just like Discovery Parks. This is like all kinds of caravan parks. The cabins are not like generally the. It's not Hilton, is it? But the cabin has been really, really warm, and that was my main concern, and has had the space that we've required for a family of 5 to be in here. So in terms of whether or not this is a good option for families who are traveling to the snow and can't, I mean, nothing's going to beat staying in the village, being able to ski straight to your front door, or snowboard straight to your front door, and just walk in there and have a big open fireplace, or the dry rooms and that community feel that comes with staying on the snow. I love it. There's nothing beats that. But it's just out of reach of a lot of us at the moment in particular. As an option, we've found this to be really quite good. Staying at Thredbo, skiing at Thredbo, it's about a 20-25 minute drive up the road. The traffic hasn't been that bad. We've been easily able to get up here at like 7 o'clock in the morning, go get a coffee, get dressed, get ready, zip up the road and be at the kids' snowboard lessons like with half an hour to spare at 8:30 in the morning and got a good park. So that kind of journey to and from has been fine. You know, I was like, will I really get the shits with this, doing that drive like multiple times a day? But the reality is, no, it was been fine. So I would actually definitely recommend considering the Discovery Park as an option if you're a family looking to staying at the snow. The only thing you're probably going to miss out on is that you're not in the centre of Thredbo, and you're also not in the centre of Jindabyne. So if you think of yourself as being the type of person that's really going to like want to get out into the town and wander around and go to a restaurant every single night and spend a lot of time, I guess, not at the snow and actually in the village of Jindabyne itself, then you might find that location a bit of an issue. However, for us, it's literally been about how much time can we spend on the mountain, and I'm saying that's going to be the case for most of you. And so you can just kind of zip up there, do the full day, you get back here at night, and it's almost as good as being on the slope itself. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'm Chris Stead from Finder. This is my review of the Discovery Parks in Jindabyne. And as for me, I'm back on the road.